One day, many will hang their heads in shame when they realize the evil they defended and the heroes that they ridiculed. Heroes like the ones who tried to warn us about the potential damages of a certain injection, one that just this week the FDA fought to approve for children as young as 6 months. Their emergency order was based on the need to protect these children from infection of the virus, and in the same memo admitted that it offered no protection against the virus that they were being inoculated against. All this while the rest of the world has declared not only that vaccine, but injecting children that young as off limits. Heroes is a definition that is malleable to the left. The left would have you believe that it was heroic to set the Capitol of the United States on fire in May of 2020 in the run-ups to the election. This is what heroism looks like to the left, but the heroes I believe that we're speaking of, if we can take it back to 1991, look a lot more like this. Good, honest United States citizens protecting their homes and businesses. Good, honest United States citizens protecting their homes and businesses and the homes and businesses of others from these heroes to the maggot mob of Antifa and the American political left. Hero. You know that word's getting thrown around way too loosely when the Atlantic described today's bicycle accident where our cadaver in chief took a tumble. The heroism of Biden's bike fall. Kim Jong fucking Un could not have a more fawning press. But even then, it's fallen apart for him. I mean, for Biden's part, he's doing the best that he can in the midst of cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, early onset dementia. But even the propaganda ministry is starting to lose their tenacity. Build Back Better is falling short of what President Biden promised. And when even that wasn't enough to satiate the sharks that smelled blood in the water, they took a page out of the Britney Spears publicist playbook. Leave Joe Biden alone. Biden's been a good president, but Republicans want to impeach him, and some Democrats want to replace him. Got to give him points for candor and honesty, rarely seen from the propaganda ministry. You know, they keep wanting to paint Biden as a hero. Biden is a hero for giving away $51 billion in taxpayer money to this other guy they're trying to sell as a hero. Any of these actions are anything but heroic, but they even give credit for heroism to Republicans that backed reasonable, common sense gun restrictions this week. That's right. Those guys are heroes for standing up to the gun lobby. One of those regulations were red flag laws that you can see from the diagram here, the way these red flag laws are supposed to work to prevent mass shootings, in spite of the fact that at Marjorie Stone Douglas High School in Florida and a half dozen other school shootings, all of these factors were present. And in every single one of these cases, the FBI was aware of the shooter, and yet the shooting was not prevented. No, this isn't a heroic stand. This is going to give Stasi Karen a chance to feel like a hero. Red flag laws are basically the people that report your Facebook post now getting to decide whether you have a right to property or even individual liberty. And when they stand up and thump their chest that they've done something against those horrible, horrible gun owners, that they are, in fact, heroes. Now, folks, I think it's time we need to tighten up that definition a little bit, because we can take one look around us at the world, see it all falling apart, and seeing the people that think of themselves as heroes cheering it on as it collapses. Like Robert E. Howard said, someday, when all your civilization and science are likewise swept away, your kind will pray for a man with a sword. Nothing scares the maggot mob more than men and swords and the masculinity and the drive and the true heroism that both represent. I can only hope that going forward, we will take that stand, embrace our own inner hero, and likewise sweep them away. The opinions expressed by the Reverend are his own and no one else's on the planet. Not friends, not foes, not supporters, not detractors, not sponsors, and I cannot stress this enough, certainly not employers. They have been adjudicated thought crime in all jurisdictions. Consider yourself warned. They are coming from the heart. They are guided by the mind. They are guaranteed to choke you with a big, fat dose of the truth cock. Welcome back, boys and girls. A little bit late, but we've arrived. It's time once again for the Sunday sermon. What a week. A lot of good stuff to go over today, man. We're going to jump right into it, but you all know how we're going to start off. We're going to do a little roll call here in a minute, but I need everybody in for the drum roll. Where's my fire? Speaking of heroes and things getting swept away, that is Red Desert from the smoldering embers of the once great city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. That is our bumper music, as always. The name of the track, Older, No Wiser. Because every week I get a little bit older, and every week you guys get to decide if I've gotten any wiser. Some weeks I do better than others. We'll let you be the judge. Either way, man, we're coming hard, charging out of the starting gate. Welcome back. Father's Day edition. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there on the list. We're going to be jumping off into that as well. But first, let's take a roll call. See who all's on board early. Of course, we got Roman and Carrie from opiumtales.com, and of course the lovely Miss Emmy, the original Sinner Sister. Oh, the stories we could tell. No pictures. But we got Emmy on board. We got Roman. We've got Carrie. Of course, we got Brother Joel. Always good to see you, brother. Happy to have you on board. Brother James Pearson. Didn't know if you were going to make it, even from sunny California. You know, James, it's always good to see you, brother. You know this, and my deepest and most humble condolences for you having to be in the state of California, the People's Republic of California, as it were. But I know you're going to be doing good things for good people out there, hopefully teaching the right people how to make themselves a little bit harder to kill. So that's nice. When you get back, give Miss Nelda a hug for me, and I have an address that I'm going to bounce you for the salsa. So that's going to be nice. Brother Aaron on board. Aaron, when I get done, I need to give you a call, man. Going to put some things together. Brother G-Dub Bowles. Always good to see G-Dub, man. Out there on the front lines, hitting the highway, outlaw trucker extraordinaire. Even hitting the ice roads when the concrete runs out, man. You may have seen him on any of those trucker reality shows, man. G-Dub has done a lot for the program, and he's done a lot for me personally. Appreciate him. Thanks for getting here, and thanks for being on board. Wayne Sharp, taking it all the way back to the high school days. Good to see you, man. Where's your brother been? Looking forward to check in, man. What do we got here? I am a white rhino in a petting zoo. Cute but dangerous out here. That is certainly a unique take. And I would have to say, accurate. Let's run it by our fact checkers. Fact check, mostly true. Yes. Good to see you, Brother Pearson, man. All of you guys that showed up early. We are running just a shade late. Chris Reyes making it in. Cool, man. Just in the nick of time. Yeah, it kind of works out sometimes when the shows run a little bit behind. Man, we lose some people that could ordinarily make it, but we try to make room for everybody. And we're going to be running probably quite a bit over today. And I offer no apologies because we got a ton of good stuff to cover, man. It's been a heavy week on the news front. It's been a heavy week on the civil rights front. It's been a heavy week all the way around this scary place. But happy that you guys are on board, man. Let's just get off into it, shall we? Gonna go ahead and fade the bumper music out. Get a little sip of liquid enthusiasm here. Magical caffeinated lemonade. Still here, still on the project here in Central Oregon. A couple of brief updates that I want to give to you real quick before. Let's give the sponsor shout outs first. Go ahead and fade this on out, man. Let me see. Okay. Sponsor shout outs first and foremost to Roman from opiumtales.com. Roman and his lovely wife, Carrie, and Allie and Roxy and the bevy of beautiful women over there. They are the erotic pinups and portraits people. Spectacular watercolor work that Roman is doing now. And as always, the testosterone-driven commentary for which he is so well known. And what's not to like about that? Beautiful semi-naked women and testosterone-driven commentary. It's toxic masculinity by anybody's definition, which means that the Rev gives it a double barrel thumbs up. So we're all about that. Also, my Viking brothers, Casey and Dusty Tellison at Nordic Smoke Barbecue, the only legit barbecue in the Inland Northwest. Period. End of statement. Fucking done. They are rolling with the long ship again, the Viking long ship with the dragon head. Okay, it's a smoker trailer, but it's really cool. It's got some great graphics on the outside and inside the Viking long ship, the smoker trailer. The best goddamn barbecue you are ever going to lay your taste buds to. It's fucking amazing. If you are in the Spokane area, they are setting up every Thursday at American Gun and Pawn right there off of Sprague. You will see the line wrapped around the block. They start about 11 and they go until they run out of product. And every week they bring a little more product, and every week they run out quicker because the word is getting out, and it's fucking amazing. So if you're in the Spokane area, you got to go check them out. So again, take care of the people that are taking care of the program because they make it possible for me to try to take care of you in that roundabout reverence gospel kind of way that I try to bring to you every Sunday. So, yes. So what do we got? G-Dub, as I travel small town America, I can verify that STA is 100% ready for the big cities to go tits up and ready to ride it out. Copy that. One of these days, G-Dub, I need to, you know what? I either need to get like a big prepared list of bullet points from you with some sources and stuff that I can like take and run with, or when I finally get enough time to figure out the rest of the interface and how to use StreamYard properly and can get live guests on here, you know, like open that little window and have a live guest. I would love to have you on, man, because again, you being out there, you're right in the thick of it, man. It ties in on so many levels with not just the supply chain issues that we're having, but the fuel shortages and the fuel expense and all of these things that people have taken so much for granted for so fucking long. And it's finally catching up, and it's going to bite them in the fucking ass. They don't, you know, they cannot understand that high fuel prices aren't just high fuel prices, right? Like to us, that's just, well, fuck, we can't afford to go on vacation this year. To the enormous complexity of the system on which we depend, it's a little bit bigger than that. See, because if people can't go on vacations, they gripe and bitch. If there's no food on the shelves because the trucks couldn't couldn't afford to fill up, or just said, fuck it, we're done with this and putting up all, we're done putting up with all the fucking regulations and the hassles and everything. If the food is not on the shelves, people bitch, they fucking riot. We've been over this before on the program, and you guys that have been around for a while, like minds and kindred spirits here. I'm not preaching to the choir, I'm preaching to the fucking converted. You already know. But G-Dub is out there in the thick of it, and he could give us, I feel like he can give us a little bit more of a personal and direct perspective. So definitely we're checking out. And by the way, if you're not friends with GW Bowles you can check him out on social media. I know he's on Twitter for sure. He's on the gram. In fact, he pretty much blew me up over there on Twitter. Got me a ton of new followers over there. He's done a lot for the program. He's on Twitter. He's on the gram. On Facebook, last I checked, G-Dub, I could be wrong about that. Feel free to correct me. But again, he's been around. He's been around this for a bit, and you have seen him on a couple of the. I'm not a television guy, but I remember being incredibly jealous because I had the hots for that one cute little blonde ice road trucker chick, and he got to ride with her down in South America, I think it was. But he's on a couple of those reality programs doing his 18-wheeler hitting the long hard road thing. So definitely tampons are the next big shortage. Well, yeah, but and I would agree with that anyway, that tampons are going to be the next big shortage because too many alleged men are fucking pouring blood out of their vaginas. So I think that's probably having a bit of an effect on the supply chain. I could be wrong. Sorry, I had to get in that little dig. Brother Ryan showing up. Yes, Brother Ryan. And just in time, because we're about to hit that segment, couple quick updates that I want to give you. Just really, really quickly. Primus says, damn blue collar tweakers. Yeah, they're everywhere. They're fucking everywhere, right? Yeah, maybe if they did. Yeah. Oh man. I love my core crew, and everybody is on board. Okay. Really quick update because a lot of you have asked, and I appreciate not just the inquiries, but the enormous outpouring of support that I've gotten, not just from my crowd here, but across social media and in real life for the lovely Miss Charlie. You guys know her from the YouTube channel as Nurse Charlie. You have seen her a couple of times. Just pop in at the end of one of the sermons when we're having those rare occasions where we actually do have that quality time together. She's my biggest fan and my strongest supporter. She is an amazing woman, and as you guys are well aware, we have been dealing with a cancer diagnosis. She is a previous cancer survivor. She had been cancer-free in remission for almost 10 years, and as of late December, we got that word that nobody wants to hear, and she's been dealing with the chemo. Well, quick update. She is progressing very, very well. The original spots that they found have been completely eradicated by the chemo, and now we are focusing on the stuff that remains in the bones, the pelvic bones. And so moving forward, we have a bit more chemo. The medications they've switched her out to are a bit more harsh. A bit more harsh, but she's taking her infusions. She's responding very well, and just that heart of hers is fucking amazing. In all honesty, she is dealing with this way better than I am, and she's the one carrying the cancer, and she's dealing with it 10 times better than I am. Emotionally, I'm a wreck. Because that woman is my world and my light and my reason. But the good thing is everything is looking up. We are on the upside of recovery and the downhill slope of getting rid of this shit. So hopefully there will be a fine, bright Sunday evening sometime over the course of the next couple of months where I will be able to come on and say, it's done. But in the meantime, she is progressing exceedingly well, and things are good, and we're going to beat this thing. So thank you all again for your support, and it means the world to Charlie. Charlie doesn't do a whole lot video wise. Doesn't really, not a real big social butterfly. Even on social media, it's I'm clearly the extrovert in the relationship, as I am pretty much in like every interaction with any other human being on the planet that I'm ever involved in. But yes, let me adjust this down just a shade. Here we go. There we go. All right. But yes, that's the prognosis right now. Everything's looking good. So good news on the job front. Nothing is set in stone as of yet, but the probability and what we are gravitating towards now is that I will be able to stay here in this little undisclosed Central Oregon town on this undisclosed project for this undisclosed general contractor. It's looking like I will be able to stay here in Oregon. There's going to be some shifts in the actual office that I will be working out of. I don't work out of an office, obviously. The regional office that I will be in the direct employ of might be shifting from Spokane to Portland, but they already have a crew on this particular project. It's just on a different part of the campus. So it's looking like I will be able to keep my home in this beautiful little Central Oregon town that I have come to love, that I am deeply, deeply enamored of. And so things are starting to stabilize. Yes, I do know where you are, Brother James. And your consent wasn't needed. Yeah, it means the world, brother. It does. All of you, and Roman, him and Carrie, and the prayers and the support and everything else. Burning residence for the two of us, that also works. Brother John Tim, John, we haven't seen John on here for a bit. John and I go back a number of years. We used to express our devotion and camaraderie as friends and brothers by smacking each other in the head with rattan sticks, and cracking ribs with steel training knives and all kinds of fun stuff like that. John, good to see you. Monty also making it out. So what do you say, boys and girls? You already know where we are headed next. The ever popular segment. Let me see if I can get the sound bites working at the same time and coordinate it. Probably not, but we are headed for Ryan's Rabbit Hole. That's right, man. The ever popular Ryan's Rabbit Hole segment. Brother Ryan, you guys already know, he's my dear friend and my brother in every sense of the word. He is the man that made it possible for me to undertake this crane journey. He has been a devout supporter of the program, offering suggestions and steering it ever so gently from the earliest days. He was the guy that first kind of slapped me out of this thing when it was just the COVID cast. He was like, bro, you're deeper than this. You're talking about COVID every fucking week. You're deeper than this. Branch out, fucking expand, show these people what you got going on up here. And I took it to heart. And he's also the guy that suggested the outro music be Clutch, which I accidentally revealed a little bit too early. But every week we do this segment, and it started off just kind of as a one-off, but now it is not only a regular segment, but a very popular regular segment that we do. Ryan's Rabbit Hole. Ryan is in the same way that Joey is the Sultan of Sarcasm. Ryan is the prime minister of all things esoteric, obscure, and he's got a lot. He's quite the repository of obscure and esoteric information. And so every week we open up that little rabbit hole, and sometimes we go in a historical direction, sometimes we go philosophical, sometimes we go conspiratorial, sometimes we go humorous, sometimes we just isolate a particular individual who we find fascinating for one reason or the other, and we offer up his name and the reason that we find him fascinating. And we leave it to you to go down that rabbit hole yourself and see which particular part of his political or historical or philosophical leanings you find entertaining, which part of his worldview speaks to you. And this week, we're going down one of those, a fellow by the name of Jeremy Cohen. You will know him better. He is better known to the world as Spike Cohen. I'm going to give this one particular thing a mention in passing, and then that will be the last that you will hear of it. A lot of people are familiar with Mr. Cohen because of his ties to a certain Joe Jorgensen, a libertarian candidate for president in 2020. And that is as much airtime as I'm giving to Joe Jorgensen. But let's talk about Spike for a bit, shall we? Spike is a devout libertarian in every sense of the word, capital L libertarian. Now, I have my lowercase l libertarian leanings. Once upon a time, those leanings were a lot more pronounced than they are now. I had always pretty much considered myself a right-leaning libertarian, right-leaning capital L libertarian. I was a big Ron Paul guy in 2012. You guys are well aware of this if you've followed it at all. Ron Paul was he was and remains the last American statesman. Yes, he ran as a Republican and not as a libertarian, because running on one of the two major parties got him a hell of a lot more exposure. A lot of people that had never even heard of Ron Paul himself, let alone his ideas and the importance thereof, got exposed to Ron Paul and to libertarian ideology because of that 2012 run that he undertook as a Republican. He is one of the few, in fact, perhaps the only, with the with the possible exception of Mr. Cohen, who we're getting ready to address, that still understands things like moral and ethical principles, even if they are principles with which you or I or anyone may disagree. If there ever is a third party candidate, and when I say third party, that obviously big L libertarians are going to be in that field, that I would consider offering up my vote to outside of Ron Paul, it would definitely be Mr. Cohen. Again, Spike Cohen, last name spelled as you would expect it to be spelled, Cohen. I'm going to throw out just a few quotes for you. Right off the bat, here's a tweet that he had in response to the common sense gun control, forced victim disarmament law that came through, that passed the House and is getting pushed through the Senate. And we've got a whole segment on that coming up later. But his issue, body armor, because body armor in that bill is restricted. Civilian ownership is not allowed. His take on it was that body armor doesn't kill anyone. It prevents you from being killed. Body armor bans make you a criminal for trying to survive encounters with someone who wants to kill you. Ask yourself why the government would do that to you. Seems like a simple enough question. Seems like the out front and obvious question. and the one that nobody is asking. The thing that I find most endearing about Spike Cohen is the fact that he is unapologetic in his stands, and that his stands are his own. Spike's political stands will remain intellectually honest and ideologically consistent, even when the big L Libertarian Party does not. Hence the falling out with the unmentionable Miss Jorgensen. Spike has the integrity to step up and say, yes, I am about liberty above all else. I'm above liberty over party. I'm about liberty and individual integrity, ideological consistency, and intellectual honesty above and beyond anything else. That is so rare these days that it should be considered a superpower. But he also has the balls and the spine to take those stands with subjects as controversial as freedom of association. Now, freedom of association doesn't seem like it would be that much of a stretch. Seems pretty simple. I want to deal with you, and no one has the right to stop me from interacting with you. Or the other polar extreme, I have no desire to interact with you, and no state and no individual has the right to compel me to interact and associate with you. Immediately, you feel people bristle. Oh, wait a minute. What are you saying? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Am I saying that it is a good thing? No. Am I saying that it is a bad thing? No. I'm saying that it is. The most endearing factor about Spike Cohen and the tenacity with which he defends his beliefs is the fact that he will do it regardless of the ultimate outcome, as long as it is consistent with the principle in question. Principle above all else. You guys have heard me preach this forever. You have seen me do my best to live based on that as a personal ethos and creed. You've heard me say principle over party, right? Cohen takes it one step further. Principle above all. And that is a level of ideological tenacity that is exceedingly rare anywhere in the world. It shouldn't be in an alleged constitutional republic, or what people mistakenly call a democracy. It seems like the most obvious fucking thing in the world, but it isn't. Spike has that tenacity. He will call out anyone, anywhere, anytime, including members of his own party, and I would imagine probably his own mother, if they step outside of that. He is a voice that needs to be heard, and he is a recognizable face that you should probably get used to looking at, because we are at that point right now where the viability of a third-party candidate may never have been higher. And if Spike Cohen decides to step into that mantle, he is definitely someone that I could get behind. He'll throw things out. Here's another recent tweet from Spike. Now that the Supreme Court of the United States has ruled that you can pretty much never sue a federal agent no matter what they do to you, there is no longer any legal recourse you can take against a federal agent who breaks the law and harms you. And then a 2-line margin, as you see me do sometimes, to insinuate that dramatic pause for effect. Who breaks the law and harms you, dramatic pause for effect. There is now only illegal recourse. Ponder that for a minute. Is he saying what it sounds like he's saying? That's exactly what the fuck he's saying. And I don't see him backing down from it and apologizing for it. Rare among any demographic of people now, because dishonesty and ideological inconsistency run rampant. Spike's not that motherfucker. He is going to let you know. I admire him for that and any number of other reasons. Brother Ryan is a huge fan of Spike Cohen for that and any number of other reasons. What do we got? I'm sorry. 14 on 7 off. I'm sorry. I thought Ryan might have tossed something in. Ryan, feel free also, because again, we are, simpatico on Spike, but you've no doubt got some observations that I'm skimming over the top of, because again, Ryan and I debated whether to even make this a rabbit hole, because Spike kind of deserves an entire couple hours all on his own. Not to puff his pecker or blow smoke up his ass or anything like that, but just because he's really that intellectually badass and ideologically hard ass, and definitely worth a look. So that is the rabbit hole for the week. I want you to take that and follow that as far down in whatever direction it takes you. But Spike Cohen, you want to look that guy up. You want to follow him on all the social media platforms. You want to follow him on Twitter. You want to follow him on Facebook. You want to get with his podcast. If you are old school like me and you've got one of the little old school iPods, you can download it to your iPod or to your phone or whatever streaming service you're using, but check out the podcast. Follow him. Look into his past work. Look into the stuff that he's doing now. Follow him on the fucking podcast. Check out the brain on this motherfucker. Very impressive. Spike Cohen is Ryan's rabbit hole for the week. So thank you guys for dancing up to the edge of the rabbit hole with me and Ryan and jumping right off on in there. Let me see. Yeah, I had, Jesus Christ, I've got like this whole list of soundbite. Yeah, no, I can't. That's the rabbit hole. Here it is. There's the sign. Go take it and follow it down as far as your soul will dictate that you should. Spike Cohen, Ryan's rabbit hole of the week. So, all right, what is our next bullet point here? Let me see what they say. Emily put together your best. Okay, I'm missing an entire conversation over here. I'll agree to disagree with him on that. Still viable under the current law, but I get his interpretation. Okay, cool. Again, we're sitting around the dinner table having a discussion here, people. This is not, this isn't a college lecture. I welcome the interaction. I want you guys popping in, especially when there's grounds to disagree. So thank you for that. All right. So first bullet point. Interesting that I would use the word bullet point, because that's what we're jumping off into. 5 House Republicans broke with the GOP to support a nationwide red flag law. I'm going to massage the temples and get another little sip of liquid enthusiasm before we jump off into this, because the whole premise of red flag laws, the bullet point, I hope I did it justice. Right? The bullet point in the teaser, what I posted to the personal page and the fan page to let you guys know what we're going to be getting into today. Red flag laws. Red flag laws have been passed by several states, and on the state level, okay, particularly in Florida, and I'm not saying this with any sort of design to try to deify or exonerate Governor DeSantis. I disagree, completely disagree. They're not really GOP anymore, are they? No, they're not, man. They're really fucking not. Tommy, good to see you, by the way. The intent, and again, I am 100% opposed, absolutely and without equivocation. Toilet paper Republicans got to do something, even if it's stupid. Yes, got to do something. Crenshaw, Eye Patch McCain. Yeah, with all due respect to Dan Crenshaw's service to this country and his time as Navy SEAL, thank you for your service. Go the fuck home. Because, Eye Patch McCain, I think Eye Patch McCain is being too fucking generous when it comes to Dan Crenshaw. And I'm so fucking disappointed. Because, again, I stand by everything. When I fuck up, I own it. And early on when he got elected, and when they had the little tiff with that Saturday Night Live maggot, I was all behind Dan. In fact, I had a hashtag running for a while. You guys will remember it. Pliskin 2024, just another take on the eye patch. I had a lot of faith. I had a lot of belief in Dan Crenshaw. He was saying all the right things. He continues to say most of the right things, but his actions haven't reflected that, and the big ideological stance he is seriously fucked up on. The Ukraine thing, I get why he's, yes, John, good to see you too, brother. Please be safe. I get why he's on board for Ukraine. I get it. But at the end of the day, that makes him a neocon shill for the fucking war machine. A war machine, which, by the way, cost him a fucking eye, right? Now, by the time that happened, thankfully, we were at least in a phase where we could somewhat morally, ethically, politically, somewhat justify what we were doing, because at that point we are laying waste to these goat fucking savages. He was the ones that went before did not. Well, I think we've all lost a few people in one of the two big sandboxes. So prior to that, it was another goddamn war for empire. That's it. Under the Bush junta, the cherry-picked intelligence, the way that we were literally dragged, fooled, lied, and fucked into a war in a place we had no business being, again, to feed the war machine and to send people to die for fucking empire. And beyond that, we were bad at it. Really, really bad at it. Thousands of Americans died for what essentially came to dick. And by the time Crenshaw lost his eye, we were at least in a stage of fucking war where we were taking it to Haji, and we're fucking, we're mopping the floor with these fucks. The gloves were off. So again, thank you for your service, Mr. Crenshaw. But now, as James was saying, his election was legit. Unfortunately, now he's only concerned with staying elected. Yeah, that is the long and the short of it. Crenshaw is, he's no longer a statesman. He's a fucking politician. Not only a politician, but a neocon fucking shill. And when you go the lengths of laying out words like traitor, sedition, insurrection, that's another one we're going to get to a little bit later. Hillary just called Tulsi Gabbard a Russian puppet. Shitty, but that was that. Crenshaw accused her of fucking treason. Hillary accused her of carrying water for Putin. Crenshaw accused her of being a direct operative for speaking her mind, for speaking the truth, for making observable, demonstrable, provable, ODP, factual fucking statements about the situation in Ukraine. Everything about it. From how we instigated the rebellion in Maidan. From how we pushed to get that interim government in that we knew was comprised of right sector neo-Nazis. The guys that were part of the Azov battalion. And we've been over that here before. I'm not going to belabor it, beat it to death again. But for the past fucking 8 years, you guys have heard me ranting and screaming about this. Everything that was going on in Donbass. We were responsible for that. And what happened immediately afterwards, and I called it when it fucking happened. A certain politician's son got placed on the corporate board of a certain Ukrainian gas and oil company, Burisma specifically. And this certain politician boasted on video, you can punch it up and see it, boasted of how he threatened to withhold billions in loan guarantees to Ukraine unless they fired a particular prosecutor who was looking into corruption at Burisma, where his son had been installed. You see how one hand washes the other. This has been going on for 8 fucking years, and that would be shitty enough. Exponentiated tenfold. Exponentiated, that's my college word. I got like 3 of those. By the fact of, yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, bringing it back to Spike since we're still in that rabbit hole. No, he wouldn't support red flag laws or our fucking policies in Ukraine. Oh, bringing it back. It would be bad enough if it were only the political corruption. It would be bad enough if it were only the money. But it's not. It's thousands of ethnic Russians in Donetsk, Luhansk, that eastern region known as Donbass, that were being slaughtered on fucking industrial scale. Now it's kind of like toned back because we have troops, Russian troops on the ground. Thank God for what Putin has done for the sake of those ethnic Russians there in Donbass. Unequivocally, fuck Volodymyr Zelensky, fuck Ukraine. Not one more fucking dime, not one more drop of fucking blood. But hey, we're invested because our cadaver in chief is fucking tied in. Anyway, how do we get on that little tangent street? I'll tell you how, because we were talking about the 5 House Republicans who broke with the GOP to support a nationwide red flag law. This is the way red flag laws work. Someone is a gun owner. Someone starts behaving erratically, a friend or a family member or co-worker, someone who's more or less involved with this person's life on a day-to-day basis, interacts with them frequently, notices that something is amiss, and they say, "Hey, we need to report this to law enforcement." And then it gets run up the chain. Law enforcement takes a look at it and they go, "Yeah, this is pretty fucked up. What kind of guns does the guy got? What's his criminal record?" They all assess. And they take a look at it, and if they decide on a local level that the guy is a threat to himself or to others, that they can go in and they can, again, this is all in theory, temporarily confiscate the person's firearms. There's a little thing that we have in this country, or had once upon a time, called due process. Again, that damnable downward slope. And both teams have got to eat it on this one. All right. even as far back as Reagan, due process started sliding with the war on drugs. Bush Sr. doubled that up. Clinton, using the CIA and the NSA. Oh no, it's just the NSA because the CIA doesn't, because the CIA doesn't spy on American citizens. Yeah, $1 billion installment. Yeah, they keep reducing it. They just sent one out. Hey Ryan, they just sent $1 billion out this week. Give them time. Anyway, the way that the red flag law is supposed to work is like that. Grandma sees that her grandson is posting and looking at a lot of really dangerous, fucked up shit online. She reports it to the cops. The cops take a look at it. They're like, yes, this is in fact disturbing enough that we should probably pay the kid a visit. They go pay the kid a visit. He doesn't answer the questions the right way, and they can take his guns away temporarily. And of course, then he goes through the process, has to demonstrate that he's got the intellectual and emotional acumen to be able to get his guns back. This is the way it works in theory. And even in theory, I'm opposed to it. Completely, absolutely, and without equivocation. Equivocation, that's my college word. I got like 3 of those. Even just in theory, I am completely and absolutely opposed to red flag laws. Why? James, you want to throw in here? Was already at a point that you had probable cause for self-harm to others. Just needed more than Karen's accusations. Hashtag Stasi Karen. And there is where it all comes down. We have the way that it works in theory, and then we have the way that ultimately it is always going to wind up working in practice. Stasi Karen thinks guns are icky. Stasi Karen doesn't like Donald Trump or the fact that her next door neighbor has a MAGA hat and a big Trump 2024 sign in his front yard. She makes a report based on fucking nothing. Now, without a national red flag law, it would just be Stasi Karen making a report and the sheriff's deputies going, yep, that's right, Miss Karen. We'll get right on it. We'll look into it. Oh my God, can you believe this bitch doesn't have enough of her own business in mind, so she got to mind everybody else's. Let's drive by the house and at least make it look like, right. And this is the way it would get handled. But we're not talking about locally. And again, even just locally, and even just in theory, I am unequivocally opposed to red flag laws on fucking principle, but it gets so much worse because now we're talking about, wait for it, a nationwide red flag law. Now, who do you suppose is going to be in charge of enforcing that? Who do you suppose is going to be in charge of gathering the necessary intelligence, gathering the proper information, the relevant factors, interviewing family members, making the decision to confiscate a certain person's guns, and then actually executing that decision? Who do you think is going to be responsible for that if it's a nationwide red flag law? Drum roll, please. Boom. That's right. The federal government, the DOJ. The Department of Justice, currently headed by one Merrick fucking Garland, would be making these calls. This is the same Merrick Garland who isolated and intentionally targeted for investigation angry parents at school board meetings as, and I quote, potential domestic terrorists because they disagreed with the government curriculum. That's who would be tasked with enforcing it. And the same people that now red flags on your Facebook posts would be the ones in charge of reporting it. Now, even beyond the Second Amendment issue with this, look at exactly where it's leading. Suddenly, Stasi Karen isn't a hashtag anymore. This is exactly how it operated. Where have we seen this before? It seems vaguely familiar, says the Cold War history aficionado. Oh, yeah. Germany. End of World War II, all the way until the Berlin Wall came down. The Stasi, the secret police. Does the Stasi, if you are, let's say, hypothetically, if Merrick Garland, hypothetically, was heading the enforcement arm for an authoritarian dictatorial regime, authoritarian dictatorial, it's a college word, I got like 3 of those. If, hypothetically, that was the end game, do you really need to field that many agents? Or do you just have to scare the fucking citizens enough to where they're doing the work for you? One of our earliest installments here on the sermon, we went over that fact about the Stasi, that when the wall came down, it was found that as many as 1 in 3 citizens living in East Berlin on the communist side of the wall had worked in some capacity for the Stasi. What do you think? You think they're doing laundry for the officers? You think they're all working at the you think they're all working at the fucking regime, junta fucking cafeteria? No, they're just regular people who are snitches. Simple as that. When everybody's a fucking snitch. Because it gives them this much power. And little Karen has never had that kind of power. And now, a would-be dictatorial state, a would-be authoritarian regime is telling precious little Karen that she's not just a miserable, sanctimonious cunt, that she is, in fact, essential to protecting the future of our democracy. And if you play along, Big Brother's going to love you so much. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? How far are we? You guys remember the start of this fucking pandemic? You remember? 911 services all over the country. We're having to send publicists to the fucking local network news affiliates to make announcements on the evening news that you can't dial 911 for emergency services because your neighbor's not wearing a mask. You can't dial 911 because a family's playing in their own backyard and they're not fucking 6 feet apart. Do you think there needs to be any incentive? Look where we are in this goddamn country right now. The level of polarity, that division, hadn't been like this since, I don't know, creeping up on mid-1800s. Sound vaguely familiar. That's where we're at. The lines of demarcation have clearly been laid out for us. And particularly on the left, they are chomping at the fucking bit. Which part, Tommy? Stasi? Let me know. And you can message me too, Tommy. You know how to get in touch with me. You are giving these people the ability to satisfy their little control urges just by being good little citizens. There was no incentive. Nobody was offering them any kind of reward. They were just that goddamn fearful and finally given the chance to flex a little bit, or so they thought. Yeah, people got to do what we say now. If you don't live like you're afraid like us, we're going to make you live like you're afraid like us. I'm telling. No incentive necessary. No offers made because none were necessary. These people were dialing 911 for fuck's sake because a family playing in their own backyard next door weren't staying 6 feet apart. And the great leader has said we must maintain the social distancing. Yeah. I know I'm mixing my authoritarian metaphors here. But you guys get the point. No incentive will be necessary. And now, again, getting back to the original topic at hand, these are 5 House Republicans that broke with the GOP, and the law that they are supporting is a red flag law that is nationwide. Let me hit the bullet points from you from the insider. And this is just one source. Again, fact check everything. Doesn't matter who's saying it. Fact check the fucking fact checkers, for fuck's sake. Everybody has a bias. Everybody has an agenda. Myself included. You know me well enough to know that I'm going to shoot as straight with you as possible. And when I'm playing to my biases, I will let you know right up front. If I'm trying to play it right down the middle, I'm going to let you know that too. But unlike the fucking mainstream media and unlike the independent third-party fact checkers, I'm going to let you know right up front. Hey, man, this is my take on it. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I'm right. Not why I think I'm right. I'm going to tell you why I'm fucking right. But I'm going to let you know that I'm playing on my biases right off the fucking bat. Let me tell you what the media had to say about it. Here's the bullet points. 5 House Republicans voted for a nationwide red flag law. Biden previously called for federal red flag laws in the wake of a series of mass shootings. Bullet point next, the legislation, along with other House passed measures, is not expected to pass the Senate. Well, that might restore my faith in a benevolent God. But look how razor thin the margin is there. I'm playing it close to the bone, people, and the stakes have never been fucking higher. We are going into a midterm cycle where it looks, by all indications, that those good old boys from the GOP are going to stomp a mud hole in Pelosi's cunt and march it dry. That's what it looks like. But if we got 5 in the House right now that are jumping ship for some fucked off sense of a goddamn virtue signal, now, when literally all you have to do as a Republican is scratch your balls, fold your arms up, loosen your neck, and say, nah. Well, we got to pass this. We got to pass this. It's desperate thinking about the children. Nah. But it's of most fucking importance to national security and fucking threat to our democracy. Nah. Literally all they've got to do. Literally all they've got to do 3 in November. And yet, 5 in the House, who knows how many in the fucking Senate. I can tell you John Cornyn was on board. We'll get to him in a minute. This is where we're at. All they have to do is just say, nah, through November. And then sweep. And then we can cherry pick. We can do whatever the fuck we want. But these gutless motherfuckers, best case scenario, gutless. Best case scenario, gutless. Worst case, something bigger going on here. Because, remember the old Tears for Fears song, don't you? Everybody wants to rule the world. If you are an authoritarian, remember we get back to fucking our actions being guided by our principles. If your principle is, and the moral structure that you have based your worldview on is, we want control. Doesn't matter that you might be this team or that team, that restriction, that power to be able to pull the means of self-defense out of people's gun safes, out of people's homes, glove compartments, closets, under the bed, to be able to take that away. If your guiding principle is authoritarianism, doesn't matter if you're an elephant or a jackass. That red flag shit works out for you pretty well, doesn't it? Of course, it'd never be misused against the American public. I mean, God knows the Patriot Act hasn't been, FISA courts haven't been abused. I mean, Edward Snowden, he was just blowing smoke. The fuck did he know? This is where we are, people. Nationwide red flag laws. And thankfully, it's out there now. Thankfully, people know. Thankfully, it's out there in the light. Because when the lights come on, the vermin fucking scamper. Whether you're a rat or a cockroach. All right, I take that back. Maybe not a Texas cockroach. Texas cockroach will stand up on the 2 back legs and then give you 4 of these when you turn the lights on. They don't give a fuck. But you understand. You understand where I'm going with this. Yeah. John Cornyn needs to go. John Cornyn may be on his way out, Roman, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. Point being, 5 fucking Republicans. We are in such fucking razor-thin margins right now. But we stalemate them in the Senate. That's all the fuck we have to do. And you've got 5, not 1, not 2, but 5 fucking Republicans barking and clapping like a fucking harp seal waiting for a fish. Or we want to say, red flag, red flag. There is nothing in a red flag law like the ones that they're trying to put together here, like the ones that the Republicans are trying to compromise on. My thoughts on compromise. There is nothing in this law that isn't already available to law enforcement. Let me run that back. I will say that again. Brother James, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. There is no power besides the need for probable cause. That's where this law makes it different. There were 1,000,001 red flags for the Orlando shooter, for the Buffalo shooter, for every one of these high-profile school shootings. There were 1,000,001 red flags. And in every one of these instances, law enforcement was aware of these red flags. Them being aware made it possible. Took the shackles off, made it possible for them to at least walk up to the door. Mr. Smith, do you have a few minutes to talk to us? Your little boy Cody has been posting some shit, and it's freaking some people out. You just want to talk to him, see where his head's at, maybe get a feel for the situation. They could have done that. What this law does, on the other hand, depending on how you read it, and again, Brother James, feel free to jump in if I'm off base here. Depending on how you want to read it, it pretty much eliminates the need for what most courts have come to define with regard to probable cause. Or at least, if we can't meet the burden of probable cause, at least we meet the burden of reasonably articulated reasonably articulatable suspicion, which is the state just below. The RES is just below. We can get up to probable cause. This law, as written, will eliminate the need for that, and more to the point, will de facto, intended or not, and we know that it is, it's going to create a de facto Stasi, because little Karen, who thinks guns are icky, but for whatever reason hasn't been able to get a candidate elected that will come and take those bad, icky guns away. Well, she doesn't have a politician to come and take them all away from everybody. But she really, really, really doesn't like you. Mr. Stewart, do you have a couple of minutes to talk to us? And without due process, they would be able to seize those weapons. Let me break it down for you again. Here's the entire fucking process. There's Karen, Stasi Karen, the upper left-hand corner. I think you're calling her Jane. One of her social media contacts. No, it doesn't look too much like me. I'll tell you what, let me get that banner out of the way real quick. There we go. You see a little bit better now. So she sees the thing on social media. Her contact, Randy, posts photos of guns and cryptic messages. It was spooky. Stasi Karen calls the police to report the post. The police petition in court to temporarily remove Randy's guns. Police provide evidence that Randy is a danger to himself and others. And finally, the court agrees to a temporary removal of Randy's weapons. Here's the thing. At no point in that entire process did I see anybody being able to confront their accuser. Stasi Karen thinks guns are icky. She reports it to the cops. The cops go, if you're in a city, again, all these factors come into play. This is on a local level. But again, and I haven't even made it off the first bullet point yet, this is a nationwide red flag law. That means any Stasi Karen anywhere who thinks guns are icky, who thinks that your politics aren't right, which ordinarily wouldn't be a big deal, but he's got guns, she's going to get to run it up the flagpole at a Department of Justice being fucking helmed by Merrick fucking Garland, the same guy that called parents at school board meetings domestic terrorists. But nobody's coming to take your guns. A system like that certainly wouldn't be abused. You're creating a de facto Stasi. You give them a green light, you go ahead and an enforcement arm. You might as well put out fucking vending machines. Maybe an app on your phone. Don't dig your neighbor. Music too loud. Does he have a gun or 10? You're giving them an entire mechanism of operation. That right into effect. That should terrify anyone. Except, of course, people whose guiding moral principle is that of authoritarianism. Even when they're low man on the totem pole, those little wannabe authoritarians, they're scarier than the real ones. Because the guys at the top understand that there are limitations to power. They are in a spot where they don't really recognize those limitations so much anymore. Because it's been so goddamn long since anybody reminded them. There are limits to your authority, mister. You see what I just did right there? Run somebody that 15-second clip. Run that by somebody at the fucking DOJ. This guy, fat, toothless cripple, crane operator with some opinions. You guys know, it's every week. There's a fat, toothless cripple, crane operator with some opinions. But did you see that gesture he just made? Yeah, that seems like a threat. And the next thing you know, hey, Mr. Stewart, we'd like to have a word with you. Not going to be a whole lot of words, I would imagine. It's going to be a very short conversation after that. One that no doubt ends badly for all parties involved. But 5 Republicans voted for this week. Cashed in the chips. Said, you know what, fuck it. I don't ever feel like being elected to any fucking office in America as a Republican ever again. I'm just going to throw in my fucking chips and hope for a job at Fox News. Fox News being controlled opposition. Yeah, we already know. But it came back to bite Cornyn in the ass. This, according to NBC News, John Cornyn booed at Texas GOP convention as he seeks bipartisan gun deal in the Senate. Bipartisan gun deal, there is no such fucking thing. Never has been. Compromise is a one-way street with fucking liberals and leftists. I don't give a fuck who you are on what slipshod, skinny ass premise you think you can disagree. Sit down, shut up. You're fucking wrong. It has been a steady chipping away via compromise since 1934. Do you follow the history? Are you tracking out there, Sparky? 1934, they passed the Gangster Weapons Act. That was the first big one. Up until that law passed, did you know that up until 1934, anybody, I mean, typically, I think the shopkeeper would probably go, you know, kid, I think you might be a little too young to buy this old base firepower right here. Why don't you have yourself a revolver instead? But up until 1934, any adult could walk in to any adult. I'm fucking shaking the goddamn table and knocking my camera out behind me here. Sorry, folks. All right. Any adult could walk in to any hardware store and walk out with a Tommy gun. I would say Tommy gun to, the Thompson M1921 45 ACP 30 round stick magazine, 1500 round drum magazine, a Tommy gun. You've seen them in all the fucking 30s gangster movies. Top of the world, mom. And they were actually ass kickers in a fucking firefight. They were issued to our troops during World War II. All the way up until 1934, any adult could walk into a hardware store and walk out with a fully automatic fucking Tommy gun. In 1934, they were gangster weapons. Oh, see how we're playing the word games now. Again, sticking with the rant, because we're in my wheelhouse now on this gun thing. Definitely in my fucking wheelhouse. This is how you play games with it. It's not an automatic weapon. It's a gangster weapon. Gangster weapon. The Gangster Weapons Act of 1934. When they outlawed suppressors. It's when they outlawed short-barreled rifles, sawed-off shotguns. All these were gangster weapons. In the same way that an AR-15 is. What's the word? What's the word? Come on, guys. You know the one. Help me out. Bingo. Ding, 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 ding. Tell me, Johnny, what does he want? Assault weapons. That's right. Assault weapons. But in excellent point. In 1934, adults didn't need safe spaces for their feelings. Yeah, it's very, very fucking true. Weapon of war. Assault weapon. Look out for the buzzwords. We're not coming for your guns. We're just coming for those assault weapons. And here's where it gets even more dangerous. Since we're on that fucking tear, let's take it all the fucking way. We're just coming for assault weapons now. Because what sportsman needs that kind of firepower? And then you get some high-profile attacks with a skilled rifleman using a telescopic sight on a hunting rifle. Is it a hunting rifle anymore? No, it's a, come on. What are they going to call it? What are they going to call it? That's how they're going to get the hunting guns. What are they going to call it? It's a what rifle? Bolt action rifle with high power optics. It's not a hunting gun. What is it? Sniper rifle now. Yeah. And in the same way, if they scare you with the buzzwords about the assault weapons, push the fucking headlines, everything. What kind of what hunter needs an AR-15? What hunter needs that kind of firepower? First off, Second Amendment says fuck all about hunting. But what hunter needs tack driving accuracy out to 1,000 meters? What hunter needs a telescopic sight like a 12-power Leopold? What hunter, what sportsman, what reasonable, common sense, everyday American needs that kind of accuracy for? No, indeed. Those are not sporting weapons. Those are sniper rifles. Those are the same way that assault weapons are weapons of war. Those are sniper rifles. Those are the tool of the assassin. So we're going to have to come get those from me now. What are you left with? Shotguns? Ooh. And then somebody finally takes a look at all the videos that have been posted about what a 12-gauge shotgun loaded with double-aught buck does to ballistic gelatin. Or, God forbid, if you want to go on the hardcore gorge of the sites, take a look at what that shit does to actual human flesh. Shotguns are nasty fucking weapons. And that's how they'll get those shotguns. Not all of them, not at first. Just the ones that have, Magpul stocks, polymer hardware, ventilated rib, fucking cool the barrels off. See, those aren't Those aren't shotguns. Those are, come on, guys, you know this one. Riot guns. That's right. So no longer do we have modern sporting rifles. They are assault weapons. Not only do we no longer do we have hunting weapons with high power optics. Those are sniper rifles, the tools of the assassin. And no longer do we have home defense guns, or even for that matter, hunting guns that fire a 12 gauge. Those are riot guns. And what civilian needs one of those? I don't think you need it. And thankfully, they just passed a red flag law. And the clouds, they did part, and the angelic choirs did sing, hallelujah. Karen, take your guns away. Hallelujah. And here we are. 5 fucking Republicans voted in favor of this. Ponder that shit. Senator John Cornyn, this is directly from NBC News. Senator John Cornyn, the top Republican involved in negotiations for bipartisan gun legislation in the Senate, again, bipartisan gun legislation, was heckled Friday as he delivered remarks at the Texas GOP convention. During Cornyn's speech, some audience members could be heard booing and chanting, "No red flag, no red flag," an apparent reference to state laws that allow guns to be confiscated from people considered a danger to themselves or the community. Wow, what a duck and dodge there. You see how the framing works? Do you see why I am such a fucking astute student of propaganda and the methods with which it has been employed in authoritarian regimes since the dawn of fucking human communication? Words mean things. You play with words, you play with definitions, you play with that fucking magic, and you can suck people's minds right out of their fucking heads and put them into whatever ideological box you need them in. And when that, oh my God, when that is boosted by the power of a 24-hour-a-day nonstop media barrage, like sledgehammers smashing your fucking skull every minute on the minute. This one sponsored by Pfizer Pharmaceuticals. What fucking hope does the average person have to retain any ability for critical thinking? Fear. I got some signal. Fear. Here's the noise. Fear. Do you understand how this works? Are you tracking? Are you feeling me, Sparky? You out there? You're with me on this one? And they will continue to drive, and 5 Republicans. Now, that was just in the House. Now we're talking about a senator. During Cornyn's speech, look at the seamlessness with which this propaganda just rolled right off the tongue and right across your fucking brainwave. And most people would barely even fucking notice. During Cornyn's speech, some audience members could be heard booing and chanting, "No red flag," an apparent reference, and again, seamless, beautiful the way this is fucking done. An apparent reference to state laws that allow guns to be confiscated from people considered a danger to themselves or their community. Doesn't quite define it accurately, does it, Sparky? But hey, brevity is the soul of wit, and we got to move right on. John Cornyn. Amid the backlash, Cornyn insisted there were certain lines he would not cross in the bipartisan talks. Oh, okay. So you're only taking 15 pieces of silver. I mean, Senator Cornyn, we've been pushing really hard for a silver-backed currency for a long, long time. And I guess you just stepped up to get yourself the first 30 pieces. Didn't you, Judas? We'll sip. I will not, he said. Under any circumstance, support new restrictions for law-abiding gun owners. That will always be my red line. Yeah, well, it wasn't your red flag, Sparky. And despite what some of you may have heard, and Crenshaw tried this the other day too, I watched him do it on Bongino's show. It was fucking shameless. You know what some internet trolls are saying about about me supporting red flag laws is just not true. Unfortunately, Sparky, it is. And the video evidence exists, and we've all fucking seen it. Don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining, Senator. Tell me what movie. Move on to the bonus round. Despite what some of you may have heard, the framework that we are working on is consistent with that red line. That's not what we're seeing. Optimally, what we have going on here is people stalling for fucking time. That would make me happy. But I don't really see a whole lot of that going on. No, indeed. In fact, I think we're into an area here where the best that we can hope for is every single one of these people who have the intention, who are selling us that fucking bill of goods, who are going to roll over and play fucking dead as soon as November comes and goes. Hopefully this word gets out. They primary the fuck out of them and get them gone. I'm talking about Lindsey Graham. I'm talking about Mitch McConnell. Definitely. And now it looks like Cornyn's got to go too. And Pliskin, Crenshaw down there in South Texas, guess what, buddy? You got to go. It's all right. I'm sure Fox News is paying very, very well for commentators now. You're going to do very well for yourself. Because as a statesman, brother, you ain't cutting it. You're a decorated goddamn war vet, and everything that I hear about you says that you were a fucking hero. Top-notch, stem to stern, on the battlefield. This is a different battlefield, and you have sold your own fucking troops out. How does that feel, Danny boy? Man, you would talk like that to his fucking face and kick your fucking ass. Yeah, okay, and I'm fucking 53. I'm 53 with a gimp hip, crippled as fuck. Yeah, Crenshaw could kick my ass. And my politician could beat up your politician. Fuck yourself, man. What are we, 7? This is where we are. But thankfully, this has happened because they're outing themselves. The greatest thing that has come from these past 2 fucking years, and you've heard me say it, and I will continue to say it because it's the God's fucking truth. Choke on this fucking truth, cockson. Choke on it. Is that people have shown us all exactly who they are. Not what they do, not what they say, not what they believe, not what they expound or preach, but who they fucking are. Got to see it. And there have been surprises both ways. I have seen some meek, little timid motherfuckers. And a punky gonna bust a grape. But suddenly, Bart, if I were gonna train with someone, who should I train with? If I were gonna start lifting, could you show me what I need to learn first? What would be best for my body type? I've got concerns because the neighborhood that my wife and I are living in, and they're doing it on the down low because they don't want anyone, not that they don't want anyone to know. They don't want anyone to notice them. That's the kind of meek I'm talking about. But I'm going to tell you something. That meek motherfucker is going to inherit the earth. Because now Hey, Bart, could I talk to you for a minute? Yes, you can. I would love to talk to you. Maybe a week ago, I wouldn't have been interested, but now you've shown me. What has he shown me, people? You're tracking. What has he shown me now? Not what his words are. Not even what his actually. He's shown me who he is. Who he is. He honored me with that. He trusted me enough with that. He honored me with that. And I'm going to honor his ass right back because I'm going to maintain confidentiality. I'm going to work with him. We're gonna play through we're gonna play with some spear gear. And when people run up on this little meat motherfucker thinking he's gonna be an easy victim, well, I got news for you, predatory miscreant scumbag. It's gonna be a very, very bad day for you. The good news is it's gonna be a short one. What's that line from Way of the Gun? I can promise you the day of reckoning that you will not live long enough to never forget it. I'd still go through the door with you, but I can't play an age card. I wouldn't even try to play an age card with you, brother James. I would not. I always try to be the baddest in the room and never let anyone else know. Absolutely. Me showing here at the Earth. Go look at any BJJ class. There you go. But you know what, brother James, you're absolutely right. And I'd go through a door with you any fucking day of the week. That's what it came to, man. Go. You want to do rock, paper, scissors, man. Ordinarily, I'm Frosty the Point, man. But if you want to do rock, paper, scissors for who gets to be number one, who's number two in the stack, we can do that. However you want to do it. But you know, I got that kind of trust. And I know you got that kind of trust. At the end of the day, we teach these people who come to us meek. But again, I don't want to get too far off task here. The unifying principle is that they're showing us who they are. Showing us who they are. Stem to stern. Good, bad, or ugly. They're showing us who they are. They are showing us who they are, and they're showing us what they think of us. They are telling us exactly the contempt they hold for our intellect or lack thereof. They're putting it right on out there. 10,000 head of fucking cattle in Kansas. Just 2 days ago, 10,000. Rehashing all of these things. Bringing it all back together about that propaganda ministry and how they pound you with the fear. Right back to it again, boys and girls. 10,000 head of cattle in Kansas. 10,000 head. Dropped fucking dead. Dropped dead. It was a heat wave. Must have been global warming. Brother James, thank you for being here. You can catch the rest of it later. And again, pass along my love to the family. I miss you, brother. That visit we had on the way out of Texas was a really good visit. And I look forward to our next conversation, hopefully sooner than later. 10,000. 10,000. You believe that shit? Drop dead in a heat wave. Wow. Fuck. Sure got this lined out. Still working my way around this fucking interface. 10,000 head. 10,000 fucking head. Cattle dropping dead. Must have been the heat wave. Simply no other alternative. You guys know Google is free, right? What would be the first thing that I'd look at? I would look at heat patterns, record highs for that particular area. I would look at what it's been over the course of the past 5 years, 10 years. G-Dub, I'm getting to that. You already know. I would look over the past 5 years, 10 years. I even go back 100 years. See what the record is, what the highest temperature has been in that particular region. And again, Google is free. And we have the entire fucking Library of Alexandria right here in our fucking hand. 8 seconds. That particular search, it took me a minute and a half. Okay. But some of these are as easy as fucking, 9-second searches. This one was a little more involved. But what I did and what anybody else should have fucking done before jumping in and hopping on and dick riding the goddamn narrative on either side, I don't care if you're a Tucker Tool or one of the fucking Mad Owl Mafia. I don't care. Fucking think. I love my Reverend's Rangers, man. I love y'all. My Reverend's Rangers, my Prophets of Doom, my Sinner Sisters, ladies. I love y'all. But what have I always emphasized? I'm not your fucking guru. I am not the be-all, end-all. I am not the final arbiter of what is true, what is not. I'm a damn sight better, head and shoulders above 99% of these motherfuckers. But I'm not the final authority. And I would never want to be the fucking final authority. The day you ever hear me come that my way is the only way, you motherfucking walk away. That's anybody, myself included. But again, a little more involved on a search. What would I have done? Well, I would have done exactly what I actually fucking did. And I would look back 100. What is the record high temperature? Record high temperature for that fucking region. Then I would look at the patterns over time. Go back 20 years, then 10 years, then 5. See where it's fluctuating. See how that graph is fucking panning out. And in every one of these peaks that have fucking hit, do research. Because again, all of the recorded information of human history and civilization right here in the palm of our fucking hands, I would look into it and say, well, every time we hit one of these peaks, were there any mass livestock deaths? Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to indicate that there were on any of these fucking occasions. Well, what would be the other relevant factors? And where would I go to find that it's right there. So fucking simple to do your own homework, to get your own critical thought in line, to put that shit together and to do it for yourself. But no. That's way too complicated. Thinking makes my head hurt. I'm going to listen to that Mad Owl guy. He'll tell me what to do. And don't think I'm giving the Fox News guys a pass either. The fucking Hannity horde. Don't think I'm giving them a pass. Once you abdicate your responsibility to do your own fucking thinking and you hand it over to anyone, you are no longer a functioning human. You are a fucking tool. You're a machine with a circuit board open from the rear. They're going to plant whatever they want in there, and you are going to run the fucking script. And you might not even be aware that you're fucking running it. That's how slick they are. It's why you have to study propaganda. Learn how these techniques are executed. Learn the intellectual constructs that are at play when they do exercise these things. Again, sorry, folks. There's whole lot of trips down this one today. Whole lot of trips down Tangent Drive. Because this is stuff I'm fucking passionate about. Do you feel me? You guys tracking on this? You feel me? This is the stuff that moves my soul. Some people it's fucking pro sports. Some people it's fucking, autoerotic asphyxiation, Some people like diddling cross-dressers. Everybody needs a fucking hobby. This is mine. And occasionally diddling cross-dressers. The point is this. Sorry, I got to break it up a little bit. Sometimes you get too heavy, just a little comic relief. No, seriously, man. As long as she's passable, Blair White, anyway. No, it's a different ball game. Here's the thing. I would look at all those patterns that we've established, and I would look to see if there were any livestock mass die-offs as a result of these fucking patterns. Lo and behold, there isn't. Then I would look, maybe. Then I would look and say, wait, what about other places where it's fucking hot like this? I would message, hypothetically, if I had a friend who was a rancher. Hey, you like that, Brian? I thought you might. If I had a friend, hypothetically, who was a rancher in Texas, hypothetically, who had been raising heavy fucking livestock like that, hypothetically, I would contact him and say, hey, here's the thing. This is what the news is saying. I want you to give me your honest opinion. I don't want you to give me what you think I want to hear. I want you to tell me the God's truth. And if I'm off base, I need to know, because I don't know and I don't trust these motherfuckers, and you have direct experience with it. That is what I would do. And what I may or may not have done. And what I found out, what I may or may not have found out, is that, yeah, by all indications, it's bullshit. Then I would look at other relevant factors, like the absurd number of food-related processing plants and the accidents and the fires and the breakdowns and the 2 plane crashes in the same week. And the quote-unquote supply chain issues related to that, which is funny because Pfizer's vaccines never seem to have a problem making it to market. Just a little sidebar there. But yeah, these are the things that I would look at. When 10,000 head of cattle drop dead of a supposed fucking heat wave, where it's been much hotter. Oh, it's a combination of factors. It was, the heat went to this index and came down quickly, but not quickly enough. And that was exacerbated by the humidity, and which is why, okay, cool. Let's just concede all of your little intellectual gymnastics thing that you had going on right there. And by the way, very impressive intellectual gymnastics. I'm talking like 76 Nadia, uneven parallel bars, maybe 72 Olga Corbett on the balance beam, whatever. That's some impressive fucking intellectual gymnastics you got going on there, Sparky. But let's just concede all of that. Say, yeah, okay, sure, makes sense. Went up, didn't come down fast enough. System couldn't adjust, and 10,000 cattle dropped dead, and literally no other livestock on the entire fucking farm. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and all his cattle dropping dead, E-I-E-I-O. But the fucking sheep just shrugged it off, E-I-E-I-O, and didn't even find one fucking chicken dead. You get the point. None of the other animals died, none. But 10,000 head of beef cattle dropped fucking dead. Odd, isn't it? Don't start, Emmy. There's a red hat for you, Mike. I got past 100 degrees. Thankfully, it never gets to 100 here in Texas. And of course, Roman, that is the point. That's where we're going with all of this. And it serves two fucking purposes. Serves two purposes. Number one, advances their control agenda. As I have said before, coming back to what we discussed earlier about the Stasi and why you don't actually need 10,000 physical operatives out there working, gathering information, working as spies, doing the things that spies fucking do to make a secret police work. You need a small number of controlling operatives and let the citizens do the work for you. Let them snitch. Let them spy on each other. You don't need that many fucking people. Same thing here. Absolute same thing at play here. When it comes to controlling a population, you don't need that many people. You don't need massive armies in the streets until way, way later in the game. Early on, what you need to control are two things. Just two. One, transportation. You control that by making sure that the cost of fuel is artificially high. I'm not even going to get into the bullshit and the lies and the contrivances and the manipulation and the falsehoods and the deceptions and everything they've got going on, blaming these fuel prices on anything but regime policy. You keep the price of fuel high. That's number one, because there you have controlled everything. And number two, you control the food supply, you control the markets. How much is there? Do we have enough? Can we create scarcity? Once we have created scarcity, we control the distribution. You want to eat, you do what the fuck we tell you. Unless, of course, you were smart enough to have some shit put back. Maybe you were lucky enough to have a fucking friend who's bending your ear all the fucking time, dude. You got enough food put back? Dude, you got water filters, you got ammo, you got what, bro, you better stock some food. Hey, man, bulk bags of fucking rolled oats this week. Winco, put 3 or 4. Oh, Mylar bag. Yeah, I know where to get those. O2 absorbers. Here's a fucking list of shit. Let me send you a fucking email. If you're lucky, you got a friend like that. I mean, I don't think any of you guys know anybody, but I mean, if you're lucky, you got a friend like that. Or maybe some guy that does a program once a week where he tells you about this kind of stuff. I mean, if you're lucky. You want to control the population, you don't need to put shitloads of the troops in the street thing. That comes later. That comes when they're past the breaking point and the actual fucking shooting is started. That's when you roll the troops in the streets. Early on, it's easy. Easy. And half of one is controlled by the other. Half of controlling the food supply is keeping that fucking fuel supply under control. Because how does the food get to the fucking market? How do the farmers harvest their fucking crops now? Those big green John Deere tractors out there, let me tell you something, AOC. Those motherfuckers don't run on sunshine and windmills, Sparky. Can't gas up a combine on fucking rainbows and unicorn farts. Doesn't seem that difficult, but again, control the stimulus, control the response. And you have the entire machinery of the Ministry of Information working against you. I get it. I'm not going to exonerate your ass, but I get it. But again, a mound of fucking cattle bodies, a mound of dead cattle that we're going to knock over to shed light on a mountain of fucking bullshit. And that's how it's going down right now. What do they blame it on? And this is part 2. What do they blame it on? Global warming, climate change. Now, it's gotten so bad, and there will be a guy, let him remain nameless, there will be a guy doing a show. And his update will feature him ranting and yelling and screaming about, yeah, you're still a science denier, still fucking saying that 99% of scientists are wrong, who talk about global warming, and now you got 10,000 head of cattle dropping dead in the middle of Kansas. You know, how's it now? You're going to learn to trust the science? No. I'm going to hand you a fucking phone and a list of shit that I have already done with regard to the homework. And hit you with the big 3. Sit down, shut up, you're wrong. But that's the power. That's the power when you control the algorithm. I entered a Google search just now. Cattle deaths, global warming. That was my 4 words, just 4 words. Cattle deaths, global warming. Top stories. Kansas City Star. Did climate change kill 10,000 Kansas cows? Farmers can't afford to ignore science. How do you like that? In space of one fucking headline. Did climate change? Question. Did climate change kill? Question. Farmers can't afford to ignore science. Statement. Well, what does the science really fucking tell us? I'm going to click on that fucking link because I don't read the Kansas City Star as a general rule. But yeah, extreme weather conditions that caused, again, didn't ask, top of the headline, extreme weather conditions that caused thousands of cattle to perish in Kansas feedlots this week. May or may not have been caused by climate change. Either way, it seems that farmers in the region are beginning to believe the science. Yeah, because before that, they were all just a bunch of slack-jawed yokels, incapable of fucking reading, smelly deplorables, shopping at Walmart, clinging to their guns, their religion, yada, yada, blah, blah, fucking blah. It's amazing, isn't it? How you can demonstrate nothing but utter fucking contempt for these people. And they do. These people don't hate us so much as resent the fact that we're allowed to share the same oxygen supply. They're not violent. by nature. But if somebody were to come along and say, you know what, we can lock these people away in a camp. You lock them away in a camp. You can kill them. Wholesale slaughter, fire up the murder factories. They wouldn't cheer it on. They'd nod and then act like they didn't hear what you said so they could still sleep with a clear conscience. This is what we're dealing with, folks. This is who they are. It's who they've always been. But in the space of one fucking headline, did climate change kill? Farmers can't afford to ignore signs. Did it kill? Well, the jury's still out, but these farmers are finally figuring out that you can't just blow off science anymore. I guess that Trump thing must have showed them. Wow. And again, the framing in one little circular sweep. It's beautiful. I mean, it's like a gracefully thrown inside cut kick, for you Muay Thai guys. It's subtle. They sweep through and drop the necessary points. Ignorant hillbillies, follow the science, do what you're told. Cows die due to global warming. Again, going down all the results. Thousands of cattle dead due to heat wave. Thousands of cattle dead amid continuing heat wave. Kansas heat wave kills 10,000. Heat, humidity kill at least 2,000 heat waves. And again, this was the first one that I arrived at that even called it into question. Not because it specifically called it into question, but because the effect of heat waves on dairy cow mortality. And I thought, oh, cool. They're going to break it down. Okay, this is confirmation. This is the coroner's final report saying that, yes, they did, in fact, die from the heat. And they're going to explain to me why. No, wasn't that at all. It was an article from 2015 just basically explaining how when it gets hot outside, heat really sucks for cows. Oh, thank you for clearing that up, Sparky. Wouldn't have figured that out on my own. This is what we're up against. Control the stimulus, control the response. They have nothing but contempt for us. They will continue to try to control us through these fucking factors. But you know what? I'm not even going to go down that Alex Jones route right now. Because we all know they're putting stuff in the water to turn the freaking frogs gay. We all know. I'm not even going to go down that end of it. We're just going to remind you that these are the same fucking people. Same fucking people. The ones that have that sort of contempt for your intellect, leaving aside the control mechanisms, leaving aside the whole motivation behind keeping the fuel prices totally out of reach and all the complications. All the complications that go along with that. Leaving it out. And we'll put it in the box. The box. We'll put it in the box. To be visited later. We have such sights to show you. Let's just put all that in the box for a minute. Wanting to control us, wanting to compel us, wanting to reduce population forcibly if necessary, wanting us to live in the pod and eat the bugs and do what we're told, and we'll own nothing and be happy. Put all that in the box. We'll set it off to the side for a fucking minute. These are the people that are responsible for that. These are the people that are all about using whatever methods necessary to control you. And the same useful idiots that nod their heads and go, we believe it because science, and I fuck with the science. Do not question science because questioning science is not science. Doesn't matter which side you're on. Again, right or left, doesn't matter. Once you've abdicated your individual responsibility for critical thought, that goes out the window. You are a fucking tool. You're either a Tucker tool or you're part of the Maddow mob. And it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm sure that he is. I really... GH. Okay, thanks for stopping by, man. Cool. Maybe if you decide to do your own program, I'd be happy to come by and see yours. In the meantime, may I continue? Thanks. In fact, that's probably pretty accurate because, I'm thinking, getting back to my point about red flag laws, GH is going to be the kind of guy that is going to be like, hey, this guy on YouTube, he's a fucking lunatic, man. You really need to have a look at him. And, GH should probably be well within your rights to do that. But again, I'm on the home stretch here, so I'm going to go ahead and finish out, if you don't mind. Jimmy Joel, thanks, man. And thanks for stopping by. Don't know who turned you on to the program, but, give them a thumbs up for me. Getting back to it, leaving aside, Tom, there's no point in engaging. Just let him roll, man. Let him have his fun. Let him have his fun. Cool. Slings and arrows. Seriously, man. I mean, he's waiting under a bridge for fucking 3 billy goats, and that'll be that. Race cost for his IP. John, have fun, buddy. Knock yourself out. I don't sweat the likes of GH, man. The guys like him keep it entertaining. They really, seriously, man. I mean, guys like him keep it entertaining. I didn't even notice. I just now looked over and saw the little purple icon. Whatever. Let me go ahead and finish this thing out because again, I was just in the process of bringing it home. These are the folks. These are the folks. Again, you don't need to put troops in the streets. You control the food supply. You control the fuel supply. You have essentially controlled the population. If you doubt that, we could take a look at the Holodomor. We could do that. If we want to take it back to Stalin era, we could do that. And then again, tying back into what I was saying about the propaganda ministry, keep in mind that the whole time that the Holodomor was going on, Walter Durante for the New York Times actually won a Pulitzer Prize for a series of articles that he did that essentially were running interference for Joe Stalin and singing the praises of communism and how that was going to be the future. Meanwhile, 15 million Ukrainians are fucking starving to death. Regardless of how I may feel about modern day Ukraine, regardless of the contempt that I may have for Zelensky and, the good stiff arm salute boys with the Azov battalion and everything else that's going on, I do understand the fucking grievance. Okay. Believe me, I do understand the fucking grievance. I'd be a little bitter about that if I was a U-crop. I get it. But again, we're way fucking off task at this point. The people who are making these decisions, the people who are instituting these control mechanisms, and the people who are ultimately going to be the ones to decide on these fucking red flag laws, they're not just the ones that specifically isolated angry parents at school board meetings as being potential domestic terrorists. They're not just the people that call out a fucking fat toothless cripple who does a podcast once a week and say that he is a dangerous right-wing extremist, yada yada. And yet these same people who will find domestic terrorists under every fucking bed still cannot be bothered, still cannot be bothered. To this day, they cannot be bothered after an attempt was made on the life of Brett Kavanaugh. And GH, if you're not going to horribly disappoint me here, I expect you to bristle when I mention Kavanaugh, because you're going to say, A, that it wasn't an attempt on his life, and that even if it was, he deserved it. Yeah, okay. Again, GH, thanks for stopping by. As soon as you have a program, I would love to come by and check it out. In fact, I'd love to see an avatar where you actually had the balls to post a picture of yourself instead of hiding behind a purple fucking dot. But it's cool, man. You do you, Sparky. Still glad you stopped by. Nothing but love, dog. Nothing but love. These same people can't be bothered after the attempt on Brett Kavanaugh's life. They are continuing to allow demonstrations in front of these people. Okay, well, good on you. Good on you then. I stand corrected. Rock the fuck on. Let's have coffee sometime, pal. If you're in Oregon, I would love, we can sit down. We can sit down and just take a couple of hours, man. Caffeine fueled conversation, all about it, brother. If you are anywhere near Bend, Oregon, or I tell you what, I pop into Portland pretty frequently. If you're anywhere around there, brother, we could sit down and have a cup of coffee. We can do that. We sit down and have that cup of coffee. My nickel, bro. My nickel. Cover it all. Someplace where we can sit outside and smoke, because I'm craving a fucking cigarette right now. But yeah, bro, I would be happy to do that. In the meantime, let me just finish this thing up real quick, because it's my show. Kind of what I do. Merrick Garland has refused to prosecute. There is an outdoor company. There's an outdoor supply company. And one of their logos they put on all their merch, their stickers, their shirts, all their merch has this: expect to self-rescue. Where the fuck does this tie into everything? Because it's where we are in the scheme of this entire thing. We can look at the things that Brother G-Dub noted with regard to the fuel situation and the interstate trucking situation and all of these fucking things. We can look at it. No one is coming to save us. Expect to self-rescue. That's not even just all of us individually. That's us collectively and culturally. Expect to self-rescue, because no one is coming to save us. Nobody. And then we have to look at the opposition. We have to look at the opposition. Same folks. Only they have the full faith and backing of the United States government. They have the free pass. I got a golden ticket. They have that sweeping pass. They do not have to worry about the wrath of the Merrick Garland Justice Department, because literally they can be protesting outside of Kavanaugh's house hours after an attempt is made on his life, even though the fact of being there in the first place under those conditions is a felony under federal law. Don't want to belabor that point, and I'm certainly not going to sit here and do the intellectual masturbation thing about, well, actually, under the technicality of it. Dude, take a look. Letter of the law. They are protesting outside the justice's home with the specific intent of influencing a decision. That is a felony under federal law, period, full fucking stop. And they were doing it again within hours of a guy stopping by Kavanaugh's house to kill him. The Merrick Garland DOJ does nothing. Expect to self-rescue. And that, of course, is the bottom line. But what's our big rule around here, people? No matter how much we go on a tear, no matter how much I may get angry, no matter how visceral something going on in the world, some policy, some individual, some cultural movement demonstrative of the overall sweeping, abject ignorance and stupidity coming at us from the other side. In spite of all that, I will continue to smile with the 4 fucking teeth I have left. I will continue. Because for every one of these things that come rolling in, the same fucking week that we get reminded, expect to self-rescue. After the attempt on Kavanaugh's life, what else do we get? You ready for this? Oh, makes me smile. In fact, let me reach. Should probably get a towel for this one when we get back. Yeah. Texas Republican to become first Mexican-born woman to serve in Congress. Second result, meet Maya Flores, first Congresswoman-elect born in Mexico. Just punch that up, see if we can pull it up. This is from governing.com. The future of states and localities continue to cite. Yes, would love to continue to cite. In a June 14th special election, Maya Flores helped flip a long-time Democratic stronghold and became first Congresswoman-elect to be born in Mexico. Hecho en Mexico. The Republican will fill the remainder of Representative Filemon Vela's term. Republican Maya Flores made history Tuesday, June 14th night when she won a special election in the South Texas Congressional District. Now, guys, ponder this, okay? She will fill the remainder of Representative Filemon Vela's term, which expires in January. Vela, a Brownsville Democrat, resigned from the seat in March to take a job at a lobbying firm. Wow. Okay. Now, governing.com finds that this is notable. Oh, right. Thanks for the heads up on that, Sparky, because I was going to let it go. Yeah. Her victory was fucking notable. You bet your ass it is. First Republican elected to represent this area of the Rio Grande Valley in more than 150 years. Those of you all who aren't from Texas, and I am not from Texas as a matter of specificity. Raven, you're good, Mama. You're good. Always good to see you, sweetheart. You show up whenever you need to. I got started late anyway, Mama, and you know that the replays on all the usual, and replays also on BitChute and Rumble, so you can check me out there too, Mama. It's cool. I'm just happy you made it out. So where the fuck was I going with that? Yes. I am not from, quote unquote, from Texas. The first 18 years, I was born in Knoxville, Tennessee. First 18 years of my life I spent in Western North Carolina. But the biggest chunk of my life was the 26 years that I spent in Houston. Started right about the time of my 18th birthday. H-Town and the Lone Star, because Lone Star gets in your fucking blood, all right? Lone Star gets in your fucking blood, period. In the statement done. I would still take a bullet. I would still bleed and die for the Lone Star if it came to that. I would. And Houston, H-Town till we drown, baby. Houston made me every fucking thing that I am. Everything that I am. Good, bad, and ugly. Whole lot of all of the above. Right. Those of y'all that aren't from Texas might not realize exactly how huge this is, and this is fucking huge. Because again, first Mexican-born woman. Mexican-born immigrant success story. It's a first. Not only is it a fucking first, but the first Republican elected to represent that area in 150 fucking years. Have you been to the Valley? Have you been down to the RGV? You've been down to the Rio Grande Valley? Any of you? Take a look at the demographics of that region. Have a look. There's been a whole lot of stuff in the news lately about demographic replacement. People are giving conservatives grief about it because it's a dangerous goddamn conspiracy theory. Oh my God, these smelly deplorables talking that crazy, racist, neo-Nazi dog whistle about ethnic replacement and demographics is destiny. Oh my goodness, these rubes, these easily led rubes under the mind control of Alex Jones. The likes of Tucker Carlson, my goodness, something must be done to restrict this hate speech. Yeah. Do you know the first side to come at us with that demographics is destiny replacement fucking theory is every major fucking news network. There are compendiums out there that you can find on YouTube where they go. Every single fucking major correspondent, from that Maddow guy to that Stelter bitch to Anderson Cooper to fucking, to Don Lemon, on down the line, stem to stern. Well, the thing is, the Republicans are destined to lose power because a lot of minorities and a lot, so the demographics of this region, demographics of this region, sorry, just imagine multiple faces on screens here. Demographics are changing. The demographics are changing. White Republicans are going to be a minority. White Republicans are going to be white. White Republicans go white. Cisgender white Christian. Cisgender white Christian. They're going to be a minority. Demographic shift. And eventually we take a look at that and we go, wow, shit, man. It's like they want to bring in a bunch of minorities and fucking replace us. And all of a sudden, Sutherland at the end of fucking Body Snatchers. Right? Because you have said that neo-Nazi right-wing dog whistle that can never be spoken unless it's from the mouth of Maddow. The mouth of Maddow. That long-lost H.P. Lovecraft thing about a lesbian octopus expedition to Antarctica. Don't worry about it. Anyway. This caffeine, fuck me. They can talk about it, but the minute we look at it and just go, wow, man, you guys are right. I mean, it's like we're being replaced. And then it's a neo-Nazi right-wing dog whistle. But here's the kicker. And here's why I really, really love the way this fucking played out. What I am seeing, because you go to Rio Grande Valley, and it's almost 100% fucking Hispanic. Almost 100%. I mean, you got Whitey. You got scared little Peckerwood Whitey. And his fucking ranch is down there. He's holding on. I'm not going to say 90%, but it's overwhelmingly fucking Latino. You know, Republicans have their little chunk, and or not Republicans. Well, yeah, Republicans, but I repeat myself. Peckerwood's got their little chunk, but they are desperate to fucking hang on to what the fuck they have, and they would not. I mean, straight away, just based off the numbers, they would not be able to hold on to what they had, simply based on the numbers, if it really came down to that. But here's the kicker. What I keep hearing after what happened with Myra Flores, what I keep hearing from commentators who are reluctant to say what they're saying, but in the interest of at least some tangential connection to a mainstream reality construct of some sort, they have to say it because it's the fucking truth. What I keep hearing is that the Latino population is swinging right. Why are they swinging right? Because here's the thing. If you've been around, and we're not talking about urban Latino culture, right? Urban, you know, with the hip hop and the gang banging and all this other shit that historically speaking is a fairly recent and regrettable development. When you look at the family structure and the cohesion culturally, those fucking factors. This is something he found out in California too, when they made the first sweep to try to get gay marriage passed. And what they found in California was that they started counting the ballots, and oopsie, there had been a big fucking drive to get out the Latino vote, to get Obama elected. But the thing that they forgot was that deep down, culturally, the Latino community was devout Catholic. Ooh, yeah. So maybe when it gets down to ticking that box, boom. And as a result, the cultural conservatism of the Latino community cost that first attempt at gay marriage getting passed in the state of California. What are we looking at now in Texas? Republican wins in an overwhelmingly Latino district. Republican wins for the first time in 150 fucking years. Wow. 150 years. Boom. Man. So the cultural conservatism of the Latino community, it has come back to haunt them. Not just the California gay marriage thing, but now it is haunting them in Texas. That district, even a year ago, they never, ever would have expected that to fucking happen. Why? Because not that the right has gone that much further right. It's not even that Mexican Catholics or Latino Catholics across the board, it's not even that they have gone any further to the right. They're exactly where they've always been. What happened? The left took a big fucking step. So far over that the cultural aspect of the Latino community, being devout Catholic, is not going to let them get by. I can't be associated with it anymore. So how does this tie into what we were talking about earlier, the crazy Nazi dog whistle about ethnic replacement? How does this all fucking tie in? Because whether or not they're doing it on purpose, they always seem to brag about it as if they were doing it on purpose. Whether or not they were remains to be seen. But let's just say that they were doing it 100% deliberately and they were shaking it in our fucking faces. Whitey, you're out. Make way, Peckerwood. We're not just replacing, we're going to replace the fuck out of you. We're going to push you right off the goddamn map. That's what we're going to do, and there's not a goddamn thing you're going to be able to do about it. Your old white neighborhoods are going to be Mexican neighborhoods now. What do you think of that? And the whole time, they're thumping their chest, and they're being smug, and they're being arrogant. They think that because of the numbers, they fucking won. What was it Breitbart told us? Early on? What do you tell us? Politics is what? Politics is downstream from culture. So if in fact this replacement thing was deliberate, and full disclosure, in my heart of hearts, I believe that it was. Because when people tell me when somebody tells me, yeah, don't think that was lost on me, Tommy. When somebody tells me your time is over, when somebody tells me the future is not for the white man, when somebody tells me that they're waiting for me to go extinct, when somebody tells me that they revel in the thought of the last of us fucking vanishing, I take them at the fucking word. I do. So in my heart of hearts, yes, I believe it was fucking deliberate. But even assuming that it was just a natural course of fucking evolution, float it either way. You pick the fucking scenario. We can do rock, paper, scissors, however you want to fucking play it. But at the end of the day, if in fact all of these fucking policies that they have put into place with that specific intent, all but eliminating legal immigration from European countries while leaving the southern border and from the Mideast and Africa, fucking bringing them from overseas, leaving it wide the fuck open to immigrants from cultures with whom the West shares nothing. And they have flooded us, in particular, coming across the southern border, millions every fucking year. millions upon millions, and periodically they just give a little jerk off fucking amnesty attempt, and then they open it right back up and they keep fucking moving in. The Biden administration regime has done nothing. They have done fuck all nothing the entire first half of this fucking term. Nothing. Wide the fuck open. Totally out of control. On the assumption that they were letting millions of fresh Democrats in. What I would give to be in that room, to see the looks on those faces when they take a look at what just happened with Mayra Flores winning that congressional seat. And it starts to sink in. My God. We took them all for granted. We took them all for granted. Millions of them. Do you remember what happened just a couple years back? It wasn't even a couple years, about a year or so back, and there were some difficulties in Cuba. And a lot of people tried to immigrate here from Cuba. Yeah. They have sown the seeds of their own undoing. Brought them over thinking they were taken for granted. And now they kept out the Cubans. They let in the Salvadorans, the Guatemalans, fucking Nicaraguans, the Mexicans. Let them all in. The Cubans wanted to come here? Nope. Why? Because Cubans vote Republican. What did we just potentially find out from Mayra Flores in the fucking Rio Grande Valley? What did we just find out from that little missive? That maybe, just maybe, the overwhelming majority of our replacements is going to vote Republican, because the left has gone completely fucking batshit insane. So much so on issues like homosexuality, trans rights, abortion. The Mexicans, whether they were born here or whether they got here as quick as they could, they look at that and they just go, hell no, man. I can't be a part of that. Who knows? But if in fact they are outdone, undone by our intended replacements, the howls of rage from the left are going to be fucking glorious. Will they not? Yes. They're tired of socialism too. I saw it firsthand in Nicaragua. Yeah, I know. Dude, Tommy, my Charlie used to go down to I believe it was El Salvador. I believe she was going to El Salvador every year with Austin Smiles, doing the facial reconstruction surgery on the kids down there that needed it. And yeah, Socialism isn't going to be a big sell. So they have spent years and sabotage policies and boosted the entire idea with the mechanisms of propaganda that they have at their disposal thanks to social media. And that's where they are. maybe it'll play out like that. Maybe it won't. I'm not banking on it either way. But for the love of God, it truly would be beautiful, would it not? Unrelated, today is Father's Day, and I want to bring it back with that. It has been an exhaustive fucking week, and my consciousness is flagging right now, hard. I keep sucking the caffeine back, trying to maintain the enthusiasm, but Bart is a sleepy puppy. Bart is a very sleepy puppy. So if I doze, sorry. Getting away from the politics, kinda, because we're gonna dip back into it. Getting away from the national and the international politics for a minute, if you guys will indulge me. Just want to bring this home. Not everyone I get choked up. My father, you guys, if you've been my friend, if you've been my friend for any length of time, and even if you weren't, if you've followed me on social media with any degree of regularity, you know that it was only just 3 years ago, right around now, that I met my birth mother for the first time. I was adopted. I met my birth mother for the first time about 3 years ago. And that allowed me to answer a whole lot of questions about myself, about my worldview, about my genetically instinctive reactions to this, that, or the other thing, where I get certain elements of my personality. That was a meeting that I wanted to have. I wanted to know my birth mother, and I had wanted to know for some time. I'll spare you the long story. Those of you that know, you know, and it was. But I finally got to meet my birth mother, and that was amazing. I have never had any desire, except on perhaps the most superficial of levels to meet my biological father. Why? Because the man that raised me, Fred Bryce Stewart, the man that raised me. When I say raised, I mean the man who fucking raised me. That's my dad. That's my father. What? Because his seed didn't sire me and bring me into the fucking world. It's a complex act of fucking chemical magic, beyond our comprehension. Because I didn't issue from his loins in the biblical sense. What does that mean? What does that mean about anything? That's my fucking father. He raised me. He is responsible for every good thing that I am as a human being, and damn sure for every good thing that I am as a man. That is a father. Not whoever can knock one out. Not whoever can knock one out of the park and plant a load deep enough to knock somebody up. That's easy enough. That man raised me. I know hardly anything at all about my biological father, and I could not possibly care less. I hear he did a couple of tours in Vietnam. Thank you for your service. But thank you for your service, sir. Not thank you for your service, Dad. Because you may have been the sperm donor, but my dad, my father, as far as I'm concerned, Fred Bryce Stewart. That's who the fuck my father is. And every good thing that I am as a man comes from being raised by that man. I say all that to say this. We are in an era, and I won't belabor the point, and I don't need to offer a ton of fucking sources because it is self-evidentiary. We are in a time and an era where all things masculine, anything testosterone driven, from a comment to a catcall to an appreciation and a nod at a particular political point being made, or a whistle at a magazine cover, or a little tickle in your pickle when a woman fucking big ass walks by. Anything that is hardwired into our genetic makeup as men is evil now. De facto evil. To be shunned, to be minimized, to be pushed down, to be tamped down, to be stepped on, to be ridiculed, to be called into question, to be excoriated, to be ostracized. My college word, I got like 3 of those. I was lucky enough to have a father who not only was that testosterone driven machine had a chance to go pro in all three fucking sports coming out of college. You know what? He could have played pro baseball, pro basketball, or pro football. Star fucking athlete. He had one track and field record for the shot put that he set in the late 1950s that didn't get knocked down until I think the 90s. It's my dad. But I'll tell you something else about my dad. My dad never pushed me to be him. Never pushed me to be an athlete. Never pushed me to not be an athlete. That little thing that I did. Like, as a kid, I was bookworm, nerdy little fuck. And all I wanted to do was read. I wanted to read. I had my first set of encyclopedias at 5. Yeah. And I just wanted to read. I want to learn. Dad would take me outside, throw the ball around a little bit, you know. And I was a crafty little son of a bitch. And I'd recruit the other neighborhood kids. Like, hey, yeah, come on in. We're all going to throw the ball around, you know. And everybody would fucking throw in the football, baseball, whatever, fucking throw it. And I'd wait for my moment, man. So I got just enough kids, just enough of the neighbor kids in there to where I could make my exit. And then I'd do and sneak out the side. And next thing you know, my dad's up there throwing the football or baseball or whatever with all the neighborhood kids, and I'm locked away somewhere in a closet with a fucking flashlight, reading a book on dinosaurs or cryptozoology. But he didn't get mad. He never pressed. And in 5th grade, when I decided, all right, you know what, I'm gonna try this athletic thing. I'm gonna play football. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play football. And I did it on way short notice. I had no fucking idea what I was getting into. None. I got dropped in the grease. Coach Lanny Miller running us to death in the fucking sun. Oh, there was hot, miserable, hated life. And my dad said you can be anything and you can do anything that you want. The one thing you can't fucking do is quit. He didn't press me to be anything but whatever the fuck I was going to be. But he said, once you have made that decision to be what you're going to be, you be that. 110%. No backing down, no apologies, but more to the point, no fucking quitting. And that was a lesson that has served me exceedingly well over the years. That and a million other lessons, because I was lucky enough to have a father like that. Now, maybe you're not that lucky. But maybe you're lucky enough to have that influence on another kid. Maybe you're lucky enough to be in a position, all the things that fucking men want to gripe about these days. You know, I can't fucking tell you, buddy. All these bitches already have kids. And I'm not raising somebody else's fucking kid. Yeah, okay, man, I feel you. But you know what? Life sucks. Get a helmet. Butch up, Sally. This is the hand life dealt you. But if you have the opportunity to be that father, you be that. 110%. No quitting, no apologizing, no fucking backing down. You step up to that responsibility, because it's not just a responsibility that you've been handed there, Sparky. It's not just a responsibility. It is a fucking blessing. Do you understand that? A blessing. Ordained by the fucking gods. They have put that in your fucking path. Why? Because of all of the relevant cultural factors that I just discussed with you. There are men here right fucking now. Hi, Roger. See, brother. See, yeah, Raj, I can remember having that discussion with you. God, I've known you since, good Lord, Raj, I've known you since you were a fucking kid, bro. Anyway, sticking to the point, bringing it home, fatherhood. You've got that opportunity. That is a blessing given to you by God, bestowed upon you by the gods. However you want to fucking look at it, it is a blessing. And as a man, for the love of God, as a man, in a time, a day and age where that masculinity is fading, you be that fucking light. Be that light. Full disclosure, I failed my first time around. Failed in spite of having the best coach that somebody could ever ask for in the sense of fucking being a parent. The best coach and the best fucking role model, and I still fucked it up. I did. My daughter, Alex, beautiful young lady. And I don't have words for the love that I have for my daughter, but I failed. Wasn't for lack of trying. Wasn't for lack of trying, wasn't for lack of a whole lot of things, but I failed. Doesn't matter circumstances, doesn't matter the governing characteristics. What matters is that I fucking failed. And I owned it. But after that, I decided in my heart of hearts that if that blessing ever came my way again, that I would not fail another child. And lo and behold, fast forward a few years, and I find myself with Melanie, my now ex, and my stepson. And I did everything that I could, because I had made that vow. Not just to myself, not just for my own sake, but in the presence of the gods. I took that fucking vow, that oath, that I would not fail another child. And I did everything that I knew to do. And I still have my hiccups and I still have my fucking mistakes. But you know what? If there's anything overall that I got right in this entire fucking life, it is my son, Austin. The lessons in all of this are severalfold. The biggest being redemption. You were never out of the fight until you decide that you're fucking out of the fight. But beyond the lesson of redemption, beyond anything else that you can fucking take from that, is a lesson of fucking responsibility and carrying on, not just for yourself, but for the sake of your blood, for the sake of your kin, for the sake of your heart and your culture. You are giving something to the next generation. Not just by sowing that fucking seed, that's easy, but by being there to instill some semblance of value. That is the strength of that blessing. That is the heart of the opportunity that you've been given. So on this Father's Day, I want to thank my father again, Fred Bryce Stewart. Thank you for everything that you taught me to be and that you allowed me to explore and to be for myself, and instilling that value. Never quit. For those of you who are similarly blessed and have a strong father, a good father, or at the very fucking least, a father who was on point and did what he fucking could, put his heart and soul into it, count yourself blessed and thank that man and let him know that you love him. But above and beyond any of this, if you are in a position in this day and age where those people and I know you're tracking with me on this one, all of it, every relevant cultural factor is trying to destroy the importance of testosterone, trying to destroy the importance of true masculinity. Not that bullshit, puff your own pecker, posturing ass masculinity, but true fucking masculinity. They're trying to take it, tamp it down, eliminate it, make it fucking vanish. They're taking away core values, core virtues. My Stoics out there, you're tracking. My Stoics out there, you're tracking with me. They are trying to take these things away. If you are in a position to be a father and instill these values to a child, period, but particularly to a son, my friend, you own that. You own that. Lock, stock, and barrel. And you make it your life's fucking mission. Make it your life's fucking mission. I cannot think of a calling higher or more noble in this day and age. So if the gods have blessed you thus, you might be winging it. You might be learning how to be a dad on the fly, like we all do. But if you have that blessing, hang on to it for all that it's worth, and remember the lesson that my father taught me. You do anything you want except quit. Be whatever you're going to be, but you be that 110%. No quitting, no shirking, and no fucking compromise. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel. Thank you for being here tonight, in particular, for putting up with that tear-ass fucking rant, for putting up with losing emotion a little bit with, sleep schedule nodding a little bit. It's been a very full week. But we're capping it off well. And no matter what the fuck we got going on in the world, none of that matters. None of it matters. It's only relevant in as much that we let it fucking overwhelm us. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm done. I'm done letting that shit fucking bury me. Done. We're going out like we always do. A little bit of music on the advice of Brother Ryan Jenkins, who in a large part made all of this possible. Speaking of fathers, Brother Ryan, Jace, is one of the luckiest kids in the world to have Brother Ryan as a fucking dad. I have seen very few, if any, fathers as loving and devoted as Brother Ryan is to Chase. I love you, Ryan. Love you too, Chase. All of my fathers out there, happy Father's Day. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Get out there. I'm going to pass around that collection plate. If anything I offer here, means enough to you, toss something in the plate. You can always use a little bit of love, man. I'm on PayPal, I'm on Cash App, I'm on Facebook Pay, I'm on Zelle, I'm on all that stuff. Whatever. It's there. If you want to drop something, that's cool. But then I remind myself that we are living in a Biden economy and not everybody's going to be in a position to be able to do that. And that's totally cool. But here's what you can do. Here's what you can do for me. If you're broke is a joke, I get it. Tell somebody about it. Let them know, hey, man, every Sunday there's this fat, toothless cripple, crane operator with some opinions, right? That's it. But he gets on, he does his thing, man, and I dig the show. Maybe you'll dig it. Come on out, check the show out. Tell them about it on your own social media platforms, man. Spread that gospel, get it out there. And the more reach we have, the more lives, the more minds we can affect, the more worldviews we can shape, and hopefully the more lives we can fucking change. But above and beyond everything else you can do, not just for me, but definitely for you, right? Remember the directives. What are the directives? Come on, man. You guys know this by now. You guys know the fucking directives by now, right? What do we got to be, man? What do we got to be? First and foremost, what do we got to be, man? What are they going to try to bury you with? What are they going to try to bury you with? It's that old ratio, man. Signal to noise. They try to bury you with the noise. You got to be that signal. Cut through that noise, man. Be the signal in a world full of noise. They're going to try to bury you with the darkness. You got to be that light to cut through the darkness. They'll try to demoralize, dehumanize you. You got to be that light to cut through the darkness. But above and beyond anything else, you got to be that strength in a world full of weakness. Try to crush you with the weakness. That strength means more than anything. That is the iron rule. I love you guys. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel for my sinner sisters, my Reverend's Rangers, and my prophets of doom. I love y'all. I'll see you next Sunday. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate y'all being here more than you even know. Thanks. Peace. See you next Sunday, guys. God, I love y'all.